Hey y'all, I was going to tell a little story about Teresa and a snake. And how this happened, I was coming in one morning, I was walking back up towards the barn area where we had our four-wheelers parked. And so I get this call from Teresa and she says, "Where are you?" I said, "Well, I'm actually through hunting and I'm fixing to come back to the four-wheeler." She said, "Well, hurry it up and come up here." She says, there's a snake in my four-wheeler." I said, okay. I didn't much believe that, but anyway, I get up there, and so she's telling me the story, how that when she got to her four-wheeler, she looked out in front of it, and a big old rat snake, I guess he's about 5 or 6 foot long. He was a pretty good sized snake. He was stretched out right in front of the four-wheeler, about 4, 5, 6 foot from her. And she thought, well, I may just take that four-wheeler and just run over him. Well, she just cranked that thing up and run over him. Well, when she looked back to see what it did to him, he was gone. She thought, where did he go? So she gets off the four-wheeler and she starts looking around to see if he went in a hole or something on the ground, but it's nothing but just bare ground right in there. And I mean, real short grass is ½ inch long, you know, and there was nothing there. She said, where did he go? She kept looking, and finally she found him. And he was curled up right up under the edge of the front of the seat. In the front of the seat there, he was curled up all up under there. And how he did it that fast, I don't know how he did it. But anyway, when I got there, she pointed it out to him, and I couldn't help but laugh at her because it was funny watching her. She had an arrow out, and she was trying to get that snake out of that four-wheeler.
Where's it going?
He's hiding somewhere. I don't know where. It's going down right there. You see?
Let's see if he's...
There's his head right there. You scared him back.
Oh, I see his head.
Joel, get out of here. Get down. Good gracious.
He's going in circles.
Bite at it, you see?
Yeah.
I need him to get out of there. His body wrapped around everything.
Go. I'm poking him. Let.
I see you poking.
Off of my four-wheeler.
Huh?
So get off of my four-wheeler. Come on. Get out. Get in. He's going back towards you.
Wrapped around that exhaust.
I've got him. I'm hitting him in the head.
Just like a rat snake.
So he is a rat snake getting off my four-wheeler, that's for sure. Let him go. He's going down. Here he goes.
Where's he going?
He's right out here by the wheel.
Alright, let him get down on the ground. Let him go.
I don't want him to know he's going back up. No, don't go back up. Get off my four-wheeler. Come on. He's trying to go back up. You stupid. Ah!
He's gonna get you. He's gonna come back and get you now.
You get away from here.
He says, I'm fixing to come after your hide. And he was wound up all in there. She worked and worked and worked and worked. I didn't help a whole lot. I was having fun with it because if you know Teresa, she's determined. I'm gonna tell you, she's a determined individual. Well, she worked and worked and worked pulling that snake out of there. Well, finally, she got that snake out of there and threw him off, and I guess he took off then, if I remember right. He took off and headed over to the other ranch, I think, across the fence. But anyway, she must have, where we kept our four-wheelers, there was a little three-sided shed that I had built up there just to protect the four-wheelers from the weather. And evidently, that snake had got in her four-wheeler up there at the camp. And she had probably carried him down there with her when she went and hunted that morning and didn't realize it. Well, anyway, we got up there to the camp and I got to watching her. I could hear this racket going on and something banging and banging. And I went outside and there she was under that little old shed, and she was banging all over that four-wheeler. She was fixing to leave and go somewhere. She was going to make sure there wasn't any more snakes in there. Well, as y'all can see, my wife don't like snakes very good at all. And what she hates worse than snakes are bugs, are grasshoppers. More than anything, spiders. But grasshoppers, anything with legs, she is petrified of it, okay? I'll tell you how bad she is. I was going fishing one day and I was using crickets. And she was going with me and she says, well, I'm not going to touch those things. I said, well, they're not going to hurt you. They can't hurt you. She said, I'm not going to touch them. There's no way. Well, she wouldn't. So I said, well, let me just try something. Let me just show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pinch this head on this cricket and kill it. And then I want you to just take it and put it in your hand and see that it's not going to hurt you. I mean, there's no way it can hurt you. It's just your fear of the legs is what it is, okay? Well, I mean, I laugh at people that are afraid of bugs. I've just never been afraid of them, and I shouldn't be laughing at them, but I do, because to me it's, why be afraid of a simple bug? A spider that can bite you or something, I understand. I don't want them on me or anything like that. But a simple grasshopper or a cricket or something like that, no, I'm not gonna. I just don't see it. Well, anyway, I held her hand out there. I made her hold her hand out, and I literally was trying to put this thing in her hand, and she began to cry. That's how scared she was of this silly cricket. I ended up just having to bait her hooks. Later on, she did let me squash the head on the cricket, give it to her if she had a rubber glove on, and then she would put it on her hook, okay? So she did get to at least fish. But anyway, I'll just tell you a few times, for instance, that things get out of control with Teresa and bugs, okay? If you were driving behind her, down at the ranch, down at our deer lease, there's just literally millions of grasshoppers. And if you're on the four-wheeler, they're jumping up, they're hitting you in the face, they're hitting you all over, basically. And you want to see something funny, you just ride behind Teresa. Because it's like, she turns loose of the handlebars, she starts swinging her arms, slinging and hollering and everything. It's ridiculously funny, but anyway, this is just the way she is. One day, we're up by the ranch house, I believe, or by the camper, and it was a cool morning, okay? The wind was blowing out of the north, and she walked by this tree, and she says, oh my word, Well, on the south side of that tree, all of these grasshoppers were congregated and just covered the back of this tree.
Okay. Take a look at that.
Around to this side.
I'm just a little bit too close. I'm going to zoom in there. Oh, Leighton. We would have to have a big prayer meeting.
Look at that.
There's a wasp in the mix.
Sure is.
Up and down that tree. Oh my God, look over my head.
Hundreds and hundreds of them. And she's just having a fit over all these grasshoppers. Although they won't hurt her, but she thinks that it's the legs, is what she said. I've literally tried to hold the grasshopper up to her finger, let it touch her finger. She's not having anything to do with it. She'll have a heart attack. So I just finally, now if you want to get yourself hurt, put a bug on her. Because I'm telling you, she will hurt you. She's not playing. It is terrible with her. She is so afraid of them. But anyway, I was just going to throw that in there a little bit for you and tell you a little bit about how terribly afraid of bugs she is. One time she was down and we were on the Gray Ranch, and she'd climbed up in her tripod and before daylight, and as it started to break light, she began to hearing all this noise around her. Well, it was katydids singing, and she literally got down out of the stand and went back to the camp. Right through other hunters and everything else. She wasn't going to hunt. I mean, she was afraid of katydids. Okay? Petrified of bugs. That's my wife. Now, one time, I about had her having a heart attack. My little girl, Erin, was at that age, she was 2 years old. And we had stopped somewhere, I can't remember even where we were, but there was a grasshopper on the hood. And so it was just a grasshopper about like this. So I get Erin in my arms and I carry her over there and I grab this grasshopper and I'm letting her pet it, touch it and everything. Teresa is in the car literally about to have a heart attack because that baby was touching a grasshopper. Now Erin wasn't afraid of it. She kind of liked touching it and moving its antennas around and doing all of that stuff, and she wasn't afraid of it at all. Now my son took a little bit after her because he didn't care for bugs for the longest. Now he's not so much afraid of it. He's an adult now, so he figured out it wasn't going to hurt you. I had went and bought a whole bunch of crickets, and I was going fishing. And I was going up to Lake Cooper. Okay? What I didn't tell my wife was that I was driving her car and I didn't tell her about it until later. Well, the box came open and a bunch of those crickets got out of the car. Well, I rounded up as many as I could find and catch and everything. And needless to say, she found one of those crickets in her car later while she was driving, she said. And another time, a grasshopper got loose in the car. She literally pulled over to the side of the highway and got out and had to get that grasshopper out. I don't know how she even got it out of the car, but she had to get it out of the car. Well, that's one of the things that's terrible about it, is that I'm afraid that if she ever gets a bug on her in the car and she will have a wreck. She will be responsible for running into somebody. She is deathly afraid of bugs. Now, one day she sat up in a tree and she had a snake to come down, just eyeballing her, and just one of these little green tree snakes of some kind. I don't know what it was. Her and snakes don't get along either. Well, it finally slid on off on the other limbs and went away. So, speaking of the snakes, we had another little incident down on the Gray Ranch. It was a cold morning, and she was coming back from hunting. And we had been running into a lot of rattlesnakes this particular year. And so anyway, she's walking down this trail, and she looks in the middle of the trail, and there's a rattlesnake curled up in the middle of this trail. Well, she walks up to it, and she looks at it, and it's not moving. So she takes an arrow out of her quiver and poked it. It started moving, and of course she got out of there. But anyway, her and snakes and bugs just don't get along. She'll fight you in a heartbeat. I think she'd fight a full-grown man, but you get a bug after her, she's gone. She's scared to death. But anyway, I was just going to throw that in on Teresa. I kind of like to pick at her about it. But anyway, we'll catch you on down the road. We'll see you. Hey, I hope y'all enjoy these stories. They're true life things that's happened to us in the past, and I got a lot of stuff on down the road, and I'm sure you'll find one or two of them that you'll enjoy. So keep tuning in, like and subscribe, and come on and watch a few of these. You might enjoy them. Anyway, I'll catch you on this next one. Thanks.